Welcome back. I've got a review today. Not a Franco Friday review and not a Fassbender Friday review, but I've got a gangster film, and that is The Long Good Friday. It was made in like 1979. The film was released sometime in 80, 81, and it is probably one of the best gangster films of all time. And in fact, it was ranked, I think, in the top 15 best British films of all time. The film stars Bob Hoskins as Harold Shand, who is a East End gangster who has risen to the top of his profession any way he can, and now he's trying to become more of a respectable business person. Uh, and his wife Helen, who is more than just kind of a arm piece. She's really kind of his spiritual advisor. She's very smart and sophisticated. They make a great team, kind of like in a lot of respects, I think, kind of the Sopranos TV series a little bit. Bob Hoskins in this film is a tour de force portrayal of a guy that's similar respects. He harkens back to say Jimmy Cagney or Edgar G. Robinson as far as a gangster portrayal. The film portrays London in a way that you really have never seen London typically portrayed. You get to see a lot of the kind of the, I guess, the more working class side of London, East End of London, the docks, those type of things. And of course, it's late 70s. It has just a unique look all about it that's different from what you would see in kind of a polished Hollywood portrayal of any kind of a gangster film. When you stack this film up with, say, Goodfellas or even The Godfather, I think it's right there with all of them. I mean, I would say this is a top 5 gangster film of all time. It's not high gloss like Hollywood likes to produce, but it's just a gritty thriller portrayal of a guy that's world comes apart. He's the top. He's at the top of his game. He's the head of this East End London gang. He's moved on from simple criminal type activities to much more what I'd call sophisticated business type activities, where he's trying to fund a casino, things like that. But just when things have gotten quiet and calm in his little mafia world, it all comes tumbling down. And he's in the midst of an attack on his organization that he doesn't know where it's coming from or when they're going to hit. Car bombs going off, people getting assassinated within his organization. And so he spends the film trying to figure out who the hell's coming after me and why are they coming after me. It's a tour de force of Bob Hoskins. If you ever wondered about Bob Hoskins and his acting abilities, this is the film to see. He's just fantastic in it. Very, very memorable. One of the best gangster portrayals of all time. I mean, certainly it harkens back to Jimmy Cagney or Edgar G. Robinson type portrayals. He's 5'6" in height, but in this film he's walking. I mean, he presents as a 6'4" kind of guy. I mean, he's just he has all kinds of. He's not a one-dimensional gangster portrayal. He's covers the gamut, and that's what makes the film so great. He's simultaneously endearing, and you love him and you hate him all throughout the film, and you empathize with him as he's trying to figure out what's gone wrong in his perfect little world all of a sudden. Film also has, I think it's the second film that Pierce Brosnan he doesn't have a speaking role in this. He actually plays an assassin early in the film. It's his second portrayal, but you get to see a very young Pierce Brosnan, who of course became James Bond. The film was produced by Lew Grade, and Lew Grade was mainly a TV producer, and he ended up just not understanding the film, and he was concerned about a number of things with the film. Particularly the Cockney kind of accent that they've got is very hard to understand for international audiences. And it also had a portrayal that he was concerned about with regard to the IRA. And so, long story short, the film kind of just languished and couldn't be released. Lou Grade and his people wanted to cut it down to a TV movie, which would have been disastrous, I think. It was eventually picked up by Monty Python's Eric Idle, who finally got it out there in the public and released theatrically, and it's did wonderfully. Um, but again, you had a situation where the thick Cockney accent, there was concern that it wouldn't carry over into American audiences, so uh, they were going to redub Bob Hoskins, and Bob Hoskins sued Lou Grade to get the film out of his hands. And of course, and again, Eric Idle kind of saved the day, bought the film and helped it get theatrically released. Um, I'm glad he did, because I mean, even though it's hard for American audiences, I mean, it's the point that they're making, even though you may not understand uh, the slang of Cockney slang, is it gets its point across. I didn't have any problem at all following it. It's a fantastic film. One of the things that I think isn't spoken about enough when I watch the film, and I've kind of read about the film and watched the special features, is the music. A guy named Francis Mockman did the music, and it is beautifully done. It's I'll tell you, the music to this film complements it so well. It's analogous, in my opinion, equally analogous, in my opinion, to, say, Carpenter's music for Halloween, or uh, I mean, any of those, like, or Suspiria, even Goblin Suspiria music. It's different. It's a thriller. It's a gangster thriller, but the music has such a tempo, and it just synchronizes so perfectly with the film, particularly the opening sequence and the ending sequence. It's just the music helps propel the film and gives it that added oomph that makes it a classic. It's a 10 out of 10 film. Highly recommended. If you want to watch a gangster film that's not from the Hollywood spit and polish mode, but uh, is a great film in its own right, and that's going to be Long Good Friday. I would say it's top 5 gangster films of all time, no doubt about it. And it just pretty much put Bob Hoskins on the map as far as I'm concerned. This Arrow release comes with, of course, it's a double feature with Mona Lisa, another Bob Hoskins fantastic film where he plays a chauffeur that drives around this prostitute. That's a fantastic film as well. The release has, of course, it's a Blu-ray DVD Region B. I have the Region B of it. It also has a second disc, which has a slew of other special features, a Q&A with the director and the producer, and a whole slew of other special features. It's got a commentary track with the director. It's got an hour making of documentary. Fantastic release from Arrow. Highly recommended. If that's not enough to whet your appetite, you've got a really nice hardback book that goes with it. About 50 pages on each film. There's 50 pages for each film, and it's well covers all aspects of the film. So if you haven't gotten that Arrow set and you're interested in a good gangster film, I can't think of another film that I can recommend more than Long Good Friday. All right, well, I appreciate it. Let me know if you've seen the film in the comments below and what you think. Thanks.